just come to your store because I'm feeling bad. That's when you know you've reached that point where you've become kind of part of their life.
People from around the country have traveled to your 71st and Keystone store. That's crazy.
4 or 5 categories. You said, I'm going to dominate in those categories. I'm going to try things. If they don't work, I'll do other things really quickly. How the heck do I get people out of their pajamas?
So what was the first wild, crazy idea that you pitched of like, let's do this thing to get people into the store? From South Bend to Evansville and everywhere in between, this is Get In, the show focused on the Hoosier State and the incredible stories happening here today. I'm Nate Spengel, founder of Get Indiana, and I will be your host for today's conversation. GetIndiana.com is your one-stop shop for everything Indiana, from festival and event guides to blog posts covering hidden gems, local businesses, small towns, and more. Check it out and learn something new about the Hoosier State at GetIndiana.com, and don't forget to subscribe to our weekly newsletter right there at the top. My guest today is Pat Sullivan, the owner of Sullivan Hardware and Garden, one of Indiana's most iconic family-owned businesses. And this was founded by Pat's father back in 1954. He took over in 1990 at just 29 years old, I believe.
Correct.
And transformed the business into a thriving destination, multiple destinations, known for blending retail, entertainment, and community experiences. He also has hosted for the last 32 years the Home and Garden Show on WIBC 93.1 FM. He's also created the beloved Sullivan Express holiday train experience. Pat has become a household name in Central Indiana for his creativity, his humor, and dedication to the local community. I'm really excited to unpack this episode. I'm also joined with special guest host Dan Hanrahan, founder of Neighbor Serve, my upstairs neighbor.
Sure.
And they're serving our community here as well. There's an interesting overlap of how Sullivan's has played essential parts in Dan's businesses as he's helped grow them over the years. All right, after my monologue, I am done. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Yeah, good to be here.
Today's story starts on the north side of Indianapolis, but it starts back in 1954 when your father, Robert Sullivan, after his service in World War II and the Korean War, he starts what is today Sullivan's. I think we call it Sullivan's.
Yeah. You know what? It's oddly, we're thinking about changing the name to Sullivan's.
Just Sullivan's.
Yeah. I think Kroger should put an S on the end of their name as well. Kroger's. But we actually started on East Washington Street. So 1954, downtown Indianapolis. My dad went to Holy Cross, had an opportunity to move around the corner, just like, 100 blocks or so.
Right.
So, and when we moved to 71st and Keystone, my uncle was actually helping. They were building the Knights of Columbus was there, and they had they owned all the commercial lots out there, and so that's where we rented. Just a real small.
At the time, that had nothing up there, right?
No, as a matter of fact,
the end of the world.
Keystone dead ended.
What?
At 86th Street.
Oh my.
Wait,
Where the river just
Keystone
ended
did not go through. Went to River Road.
Yeah, because
No
there was no
way.
bridge. Oh,
Yeah.
wow, that's crazy.
Okay, wow. So like, yeah, that overpass up at was not there.
Think about just coming over the river. There was no bridge over the White River.
Wow. Okay, so you guys started downtown. How many years in did you guys move up to?
9 years. We moved up in 63.
Okay, that's good to know. So that whole area, yeah, the Knights of Columbus, North Side Social over there. Come on.
That's right.
And now KSR's in the neighborhood too. Yeah,
man.
There's a great little area. over there.
71st and
Pocket.
Keystone is
pocket of heaven.
blossoming with restaurants.
Yeah.
It's crazy. There's 5 restaurants on the corner, I think.
Well, and okay, have you been to the spot? What is is it Taiwanese food or something?
That is the one. Yes. I don't know the name of it, and I would have
Right by the
recommended
brook?
a name that.
Next door to the Rook. That
Yes.
Do you know the name of it?
Someone told me that it is phenomenal.
delicious.
I can't remember what kind of food it is, and I need to go in there, but they said this
I do
place
too.
is, and Sakura's right on the corner there too.
Yeah, right.
Also phenomenal.
Oh, that would be number 6 then.
Yeah. Okay, we could talk about 71st and Keystone all day long, but that's where you guys started. How many square feet was that store up at 71st and Keystone when you started?
2,000.
2,000 square feet, and this was a hardware store.
Yes.
I've grown up my entire life in like the Lowe's sort of era.
Yeah.
And like I grew up in a small town where we used to have like an Ace hardware store. I feel like that was if you needed something quickly, but if you were doing a big project, I feel like Lowe's has kind of been in this time frame. But back in this would have been the 60s.
So 63, we opened there. It was all, small hardware stores. Headlands at 62nd and Keystone, Sullivan's at 71st. And then in the 70s, a regional chain came in called Central Hardware. Terrifying. They located just north of us, where in the area where Walmart is now.
Yeah.
So right there, they were 60,000 square foot. They felt bad. I mean, they even came in to my dad and said, "Hey, is there anything we can do for you?" Because they were pretty sure we were goners.
No way.
Yeah.
So wait, this chain of they're like
Central Hardware. They're based out of St. Louis. Compared to now, like the Home Depot, they were tiny, but 35 stores, 60,000 square feet.
Yeah.
They were such a draw that they would draw so many people to the corner. As my father always said, he goes, "Well, we could just live on what they're out of.
Take the scraps.
We could live on
we take the scraps."
Wow.
And so they went bankrupt in it's been in the 80s or early 90s.
Did your dad walk in there and say, "Hey, is there anything I can do for you?" Yes.
No, but he loved telling that story.
Yeah. Okay. So they come in and they're worried.
And they were sincere. I mean, they were sincere that, they knew they were going to really hurt a small business.
Like, you get into the business when you're 29, right around there, right?
That's when I bought the business. I've been in.
Okay, so did you work through there?
When I was in third grade at St. Pius, I would walk. I worked on Tuesdays and Saturdays.
Do you remember when they opened up their store? Like, what was the vibe of your family? Like, this is your family's business, and the big guy opens up just like 2 blocks north of you.
Yeah.
You guys worried?
You know what? As a kid, no, I don't think we felt it, and my parents really didn't show, but they had to be worried, right? They had to be. And I don't ever remember them saying that there was any downturn in sales at all. I think it really was. They brought so many people because they were the only, and they had 4 locations around Indianapolis. So there was 4 Central Hardwares, but they brought so many people that it just was kind of a natural thing. It kind of helped us out.
Wow. Okay. So you outlast them.
Yep.
And somewhere in the journey now, it's like I feel like you guys have that whole block where it's just like a bunch of different individual things, like all put together. But it's like you can get a beer and you can get dinner and you can get flowers, and there's just so much stuff going on. Take us through the progression of how your 2,000-foot hardware store that your dad started turns into even at Christmas, the winter wonderland that is Sullivan's.
In 81, we moved to so that would be the southeast corner.
In 81,
where we are now.
Okay, yes.
So we were over where Northside Glass is, which was on the northwest corner.
Oh.
And that property, our landlord was the Knights of Columbus.
Got you, okay.
Which is now the
Northside
Social.
Yeah.
So that's where we paid the rent. $300 a month.
$300 a month. That's where you guys started.
Yep.
And then you moved down to the southeast corner, which is where you are now.
Right. And there was there was a grocery store there back in the 60s, and actually crazy stuff because you always see the violence, but a deputy sheriff was actually killed there during a shootout in 1970 in July.
And they said, "You know what? That looks like real estate that we want. Let's go."
I know. It's crazy. So my parents bought that building in 81, 82, somewhere right in there. And so we moved in there, and then we added on to that building. I bought it in 89. And then, we were getting pressure from Lowe's. I mean, quite honestly, the Lowe's had opened by we had a store over on East 71st Street, 71st and Graham. And Lowe's opened at 80th and Shadeland. And then the big one, they opened up in Glendale. Right. No one saw that one coming. And at that point, we had a store at 49th and Penn. We had 71st and Keystone. So we were, we had Lowe's kind of crawling all over all over us.
Yeah. And what did you guys notice from like a business perspective when a big box comes in there to affect your business? And how have you been able to adapt and change and find the place for Sullivan's?
So what happens is you tend to, as a small store, you tend to get people's problems, the little problems, rather than before people would come in with a little problem, the little nut and bolt they needed, but they would also pick up light bulbs and maybe a can of paint, stuff like that. Well, Lowe's takes a lot of that business. So then you're left, as I always say, with the problems. And you can't live with just that business because you can't live off of nuts and bolts. It just doesn't work. So you try to, and we were always kind of strong in the lawn and garden department. So where a lot of my friends that are in the hardware business, they love like power tools. which is like literally the worst business you could be in. The margins are tiny. I mean, like 15% margin. The theft is high.
Mm-hmm. Oh, everybody wants to steal a power tool.
Oh my gosh. And it's like, and they have this infatuation with, I don't even know if we carry power tools quite on. I don't, maybe a convenience, but it's just like, so what we try to do in 2000, I started kind of seeing our business going to, we had a really good lawn and garden business, and that's kind of what was driving our business. And then we'd have some sympathy business. Sympathy business always kind of went like, we always bought our hardware from your mommy and your daddy.
Yeah, sure.
And it's like, which is great. We ring up the sympathy business just like anything else. But at the end of the day, it's like, I wanted people to be excited to come to our store. I wasn't, because if I was still just a hardware store, I would be retired right now.
Sure.
Because I've been in it all my life. And it's like, I see the progression of retired guys that come in and they start, they don't have anything to do. They start being bugged about, they'll bring in like a door latch, with a little rollers. Does that look like that's a flat spot on there? I don't know. It pops open every once in a while. Not all the time, but every once in a while that thing pops open. I don't know why. It's like, well, why don't you spend $1 and put a new one on it? But what I wanted was that excitement. So what I did, in the early 2000s, I picked 5 things I wanted to be the best at. So we were going to be just a good basic hardware store. We were going to be a leader in lawn and garden and plants. We were going to be a leader in mid-price patio furniture. We were going to be a leader in artificial Christmas trees. We were going to be a leader in grills, which we already had a foothold in the grills.
Palace
got the grill palace now. And then fireplaces.
Okay.
Those, we are going to be the leader in those 5 things.
How did you decide? Like, did you hire some consultant to take you through this exercise? How did you land on those 5? And how did you even pick we're not going to win at all the others? Like, we need to narrow our scope to 5.
I just knew we couldn't be everything. We can't. I mean, a box store will put out 80 foot of faucets. Well, how am I going to compete with that? So I just wanted, I'm a good basic hardware store, a really good hardware store, but you're not going to come to us for power tools or, shutters, that kind of stuff. So I wanted to be the best in 5 things.
So how did you attack that list? You started 5 things we're going to be the best at. You already had a good foothold in lawn and garden.
Yep.
And plants.
And we did well in, that's not one of the 5. Because that's just the good basic hardware store.
The foundation.
Yeah. Leader in 5.
Got it.
Leader in 5.
Yeah.
So failed at fireplaces. It just didn't. It turns out that people don't need that many fireplaces.
Yeah, and I feel like fireplaces. I don't know. Like, they probably changed too. Like, fireplaces in the 2000s, you had wood. Like, you burnt stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know anyone who burns wood anymore.
I know. And we had all these gas logs. We had this beautiful display. We had 9 working displays of gas logs. You know what happens when you turn on 9 fireplaces?
A little toasty.
It gets so hot.
Your boys were cutting weight by the fireplaces. Getting ready for wrestling.
So hot. And I remember when a guy came up to me, I'm dead serious. He was an adult. He goes, "Hey, I just burnt my hand on that fireplace," because he touched the metal on the outside.
Yeah, grow up.
And I'm like, dude, it's fire.
It's hot.
It's like it's fire.
Are you allowed to say no shit to your customer? Yeah. They were like, come on.
So we put a sign on that said caution. And then I realized maybe fire. So we got, and the reason that's important is that, everything you do doesn't work.
That's right.
So you keep swinging at it. It's like, so fireplaces went out, very successful with the other 4. And then we happened to, we were so successful from day one of that store at Keystone. We had this, because I was building this thing, it's like, I'm thinking, if this thing doesn't go, I could be in real trouble. So we had the old farmhouse that my father had, we had kind of been buying the property on that side of the street. And so the old farmhouse, we had that old farmhouse that was the old farmhouse from that whole area. And so I left that. I thought, if we get in trouble and aren't making our numbers, I'll fix it up and put in it could be a doctor's office or a dentist or something like that, and get a little, because it was zoned for that kind of thing. But it took off so much that right away, it's like, man, we're going to expand. And we went a little deeper, and then we're fixing up that old farmhouse because we built a porch on it because we wanted it for patio furniture. Patio furniture was on fire. And then this lady that walked in the store, she goes, hey, what are you going to do with the inside of the yellow house?
That's the yellow house.
The yellow house. And I said, well, I don't know. We're building a porch for patio furniture. She goes, have you ever thought about a gift shop? I said, no, but I guess that's cool.
No, but I guess that's cool.
So that is now over a $2 million department.
Just in the yellow house.
Yeah. And the gift and stuff that they put, that includes all the Christmas ornaments and stuff like that. So yeah, Mary Lou, she had experience from country. There used to be Nate, you're too young, but Country Friends up at 82nd and Dean, and she kind of ran that. And then once they went out of business and came to work for us.
Wow.
That was a godsend.
So as a small business, it's just, I think for Nate and I, something we care deeply about in helping entrepreneurs get started. So I think there's a lot of people that might be listening and just wondering. So you basically took 4 or 5 categories. You said, I'm going to dominate in those categories. I'm going to try things. If they don't work, I'll do other things really quickly. But then you also have, you say it all the time, like, how the heck do I get people out of their pajamas?
Right. So that was kind of the next wave of the story, is that, so I was very successful at those. But then all of a sudden, here comes the internet. And I remember at first when we thought, you can't be able, you're going to buy stuff off the internet and they're going to start shipping it. It just did not, in everyone's minds, like that is not going to be a profitable business. And sure enough, I was wrong again. And so then it became, because so many people were doing everything shopping online, it became, well, then how do we get people out of their pajamas? That was always like what we asked, like, well, how can we get them to come in our store? So how do we create an experience? And that's kind of was uncharted, because some of the other stuff I could copy from big garden centers around the Midwest, and some of the stuff that they were doing that was really cool. But when it came to the entertainment side,
you're a hardware guy.
Yes.
You're running a hardware store. And at some point along this journey, you get approached to start or do a radio show. Like, how does that work?
We bought some advertising from WIBC Radio because they were kind of the kingpin of AM. No, yeah, AM at the time. It had just been bought by Jeff Simolian. And so he brought back a program director. I guess he was a step above. His name was Tom Severino. And he was running a similar, he was from Indy, but was running a similar station in Cincinnati. And he had a guy named Gary Sullivan that was very successful.
Is there another Sullivan around here we could hire?
Yeah. And so, so I went. It was the first job I ever applied for.
They made you apply for this job?
Yes. I had to apply for
the job.
And it just
said owner, Sullivan Hardware.
Well, that meant nothing. I mean, we were just we were just a small store on Keystone.
Like, why would you want to do that?
Well, I didn't, because I told them no.
Okay.
So you applied, got the job, and said no.
No, I told them no. They said, hey, would you apply? We were trying to get somebody to do this kind of show, a home improvement show. So we'd like you to apply. And I said, I wish I could, but Saturday's my busy day. I can't be away from the store.
And then
they called back. They said, well, we really want you just...
Is it the local guy or is it Jeff?
No, local.
Local guy. Local guy's hitting you up saying, come and host the show for us.
Yeah.
You're like, what makes you give in?
They said, hey, why don't you just come in and talk to us? And then actually at the time, to see what the show was like, I did drive over and spent a day with Gary Sullivan at
Good guy?
KRC. Yeah, great guy. Still on the air, actually.
No way. Yeah. Holy. So if you've been going for 32 years,
so
he was going second longest.
He was 9 years in.
Oh my God.
So he's 40-some years.
40-something years. Shout out to Gary Sullivan. Yeah. Our Cincinnati listener base is not very high.
It's not high.
Yeah. Okay, so you go down there, you spend the day with Gary Sullivan.
Yep. Just to see what he's doing. It's just like, well, they're pretty much doing what I do every day.
Right.
Right? Just answering people's questions.
Instead of one person's questions, you're speaking to thousands.
Right.
And did you see this as like an opportunity to get almost free advertising for the store?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So you're like,
I mean, I got paid. I still get paid. It's like I start, it was
Nate,
like,
he's the first influencer.
Wow. So this is literally like modern influencing. Like you were like a home improvement influencer 32 years ago, talking about like, okay, because I mean, every day, grandma comes in, has like a problem with her home, or like
Yeah.
wants to put in new shrubbery outside.
And you got to remember, it's 1993, I think. There's no internet. Think about that. You grew up with like that. The internet was always there. If you want to ask a question, there was columns in the newspaper, and there was, we were the live, home.
That would be
home show.
so hard because like let's say you answer something once, there isn't like a body of work to be like, you just go look here. Like I answered that already. It's like you have to answer the same question like every like 3 weeks.
Yeah, ask me about a mole.
Yeah, right.
Matter of fact, if the little secret in talk radio, at the time when I first started, I was by myself. It's just me, and if things were a little slow on the lines, I would mention moles and daylight saving time.
And get everybody all fired up.
Get people fired up, baby. Because everybody knows how to kill a mole, and everybody's got an opinion on daylight saving time.
That's awesome.
Okay, so you end up taking the radio show, and they put you on air in this home and garden show and say like, all right, congrats, like start being entertaining, answer the phones, talk about. What was your time frame? Like was it a weekly show?
Yeah, weekly, every Saturday. Started off as 2 hours.
You're leaving your store during one of the busiest days of the week to go be on the radio and answer questions for people. And like, does your show pick up steam? Do people get excited about it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it does. We started getting advertising because when I first started, WIBC was a little bit run down at that point, and that's why Simoleon was coming in and then rebuilding the, to the greatness that WIBC had always been. I mean, So, so I mean, it was pretty much me and John Denver PSAs. Public service announcement. John Denver is always pushing something.
But at the end of the day, it's another small business.
Do you remember this?
I remember it. Yeah.
Do you do you talk about growing up here on like this side of Indy?
Yeah.
Like, what was Sullivan's to you as you were growing up?
Half my friends worked there. It was just where my friends that may not be work eligible at that point in life would get a job before they were eligible.
Yeah, they'd never used you as a reference.
And yeah, I just remember, it's just part of. I grew up in the North Side Catholic world, and it was just like a hub of. It started to become sort of a hub of that world.
I think it's incredible, and it's a staple today. Like in that block, you just kept going and going and going.
Yeah.
And you have all the stuff. I think that the business side of it, and like the business mind it takes to turn what was a cost center, advertising, into something you're getting paid to do. Yes, you have to give up 2 hours on Saturday, but now like you can almost plug your thing without having to say like, it's not like your salesy advertisement.
Even like if I have a guest on, I always tell my guests like, our listeners aren't stupid. Talk about if your expertise is, crawl space repair, talk about crawl space. You don't have to say, you need to call the best in the business.
Come buy my stuff.
Yeah. I mean, just talk, and then people aren't stupid.
Well, the other thing that you were doing, I mean, I didn't even think about this, but yeah, you're leaving your store at the busiest time on a Saturday morning, but that's also when people are driving around doing other stuff.
Yeah.
And
again, radio was king.
Pat.
So, and I always did the same thing. It's like, hey, go by the hardware store, go by Lowe's and pick that up. And then people will go, do you have it at your store? It's like, yes, I do.
Yeah. And you almost like let them make the decision to come and support you all because they're getting the value from you. Like you're teaching them about killing a mole or talking daylight savings time or entertaining them.
Right.
And because that, they're going to go and support that with their dollar. And they're going to come into the store and I just heard Pat was talking about, I don't know, crooked hinges or something. And we got to come in here and fix our hinges.
Yep.
And were people in the store seeing that immediate impact as you started talking on the radio?
Yeah, I would say so.
Like your employees, like as you're out in the community or as you're out on the radio, were people coming in and say, oh, I just heard him talking about this, that, the other. Was the radio station on in the store?
I think at the time, yeah. Now it's not.
That's fair.
I think my wife, who's in the gift shop, I think she listens, which amazes me because I would have thought none of my kids listen to my show. Occasionally.
Well, now it's like on because it's it's on YouTube and stuff now too. Like I've seen it there. I watched some clips you put out there. So okay, things are going on. You get on the radio show. So now you have a job and are employing people, growing the store, and you really take into perspective winning in those categories and the experience. How do I get people out of their pajamas and into the store? So what was the first wild, crazy idea that you pitched of like, let's do this thing to get people into the store?
The first thing was it was connected to the radio, and because after my show was a cooking show. One day around Thanksgiving, a couple weeks before Thanksgiving, Linda Ali, who did that cooking show, said, "Hey, I want to go back home to Wisconsin. Would you do the cooking show for me?" I said, "Sure, absolutely." Well, I don't cook at all. So I was at a Bishop Chatard football game.
Go Trojans.
And sitting behind me is this guy, and he's talking about cooking his turkey in a trash can. And I turned back to him and I said, "You are coming with me." And so we did a trash. Now, WIBC was located at 9292 North Meridian. So there was grass, and because it burns up.
Sure.
Burns a pretty good hole. I did the cooking show. We talked about the trash can turkey, its origin, and all that stuff. Well, in '98, we moved downtown onto Monument Circles where our studios are, and you can't really have a barbecue out, So we moved it to the store and called it Turkey Fest. And that was our first big festival where everyone comes, and we entered all the other grills into it and different ways that you can cook sides and turkeys and all that stuff. And to this day, that is one of our most popular.
Turkey Fest. Did you have to get some approval? You're like, "Hey, I'm going to bring this guy that I met at a football game last night to cook a turkey in a trash can today."
You mean from the radio?
Yeah.
People? Oh, no.
You're not a big ask permission guy, are you?
No, I would not. And you know what? I was in trouble with the zoning again just a couple weeks ago. And you won't believe, somebody called in because we are having Egg Fest, which is the celebration of the big green egg, the barbecue. And we had one of those big blow-ups, a blow-up of a big green egg.
Yeah.
And so we had that up, and somebody called in. I guess you're not allowed to have a blow-up. Yeah. And I said, "Well, how long do I have to rectify this situation?"
30 days.
He said 15 days. I said, "Well, that's great, so really I could have 100 of them because, and then somehow I got into, it's like, hey, if I didn't ask for forgiveness, we wouldn't have this store. We just wouldn't."
Yeah.
And he took exception to that. So
yeah,
he's just a young guy. He's doing his job.
Yeah, it's not there. And I'm sure they get this, and it's like, okay, it's a big green. They probably get so many crazy calls about stuff like that.
I mean,
all the time.
Who would call in about that?
Someone.
There's some other things they probably should call in about, but
yeah,
called in about the balloon.
Someone who clearly didn't like trash can turkey. Yeah. Okay, so you're growing the store, you're getting people off their couch, and so Turkey Fest is the first kind of activation.
Yes,
where you get people out to the store to learn about. And did you do it the weekend before Thanksgiving, or when did you do it?
We did it the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Nice.
And
how many people showed up to the first Turkey Fest?
I don't know about the first one. We used to have them over at East 71st Street, but now we know about 2,000 people come.
Wow.
2,000 people come?
And do you charge for Turkey Fest?
No, that is one of the, it's one of the, we have some free events and then a lot of events we charge for.
Yeah.
Okay. So, which is crazy. You're in on the surface level, it's just a hardware store, but you start to pick these categories that you're going to be excellent at, and now you're hosting events. Yeah. You end up, continuing down this food rabbit hole. A lot of interesting things come from the food aspect, all the different grills, the restaurant. Take us through the progression of finding what worked for you all to continue to differentiate yourselves from the normal everyday hardware store.
So the kind of the next big thing that came was these Egg Fests. And Egg Fest is not something I created. Egg Fest, they were having Egg Fest at different parts of the country. They say, well, you charge to get in. And that was such a foreign thing to me. It's like, charge? You want to charge a customer to go in so they can look at it and possibly buy a big green egg? Deal. And so the first one I made, we decided, no, it's going to be free. And then it's almost like pre-qualifying people. When you charge, we can do a better job because, we're not having to foot the bill for everything. Right. And it elevates the event in the customer's mind because it's like, oh, it's $15. This must be something to see. And so as long as you don't, mess with their trust, because now I feel like we have a trust among our customers. And if we say something is worth $50, they'll go, hey, if he says it's $50 worth, were gone.
Yeah.
And so you'd never mess with that trust.
Yes. Like if you're charging them $15, like they're going to get more than $15 experience.
Absolutely.
And you're right. Like you don't get as many tire kickers. They just want to like kind of see what it's like, stop through and maybe kick the tire. It's like, no, I'm paying $15 because I'm like I'm interested buyer.
In this. Yeah.
Yes. And then you can get like, hey, if you give 15 minutes of answering all the FAQs and talking about what you have cooked on a big green egg and all that stuff to someone who's willing to pay $15, like that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys hosted an egg fest.
Hosted an egg fest. And then that really started the ball going to different events. But then it got to be Turkey Fest. It's talking about grills. Egg Fest, talking about the big green egg. But then all of a sudden, the internet was really rolling. You realize, the entertainment part of this doesn't really have to do with anything. Mm-hmm. Just entertaining people. So we started we had cooking classes. So when we built the store, we had we put in a kitchen. So we were having these cooking classes, and then, going to the Sullivan Express train, we also used it for those two things, cooking classes and the Sullivan Express train. But what happened is the rest of the time it would be closed. So at Christmas it was open. So people would, and we had we got a beer and wine permit, which was an event in itself. And then people realized how fun it was at Christmas, and and then they would come back in the spring and it was closed. So on one hand, we're telling people how cool we are, and then we're disappointing them. Mm-hmm. So that's when then we opened a full-time restaurant.
There's not a playbook for this. Like, I don't know. Was there another hardware store? Like, I mean, were you going to conferences and like talking to people and them being like, what are you doing?
No.
Like, how were you learning how to do all this?
I was just flying by the seat of my pants.
Yeah.
Because there really isn't any, and and the more interesting thing and more disappointing thing to me is that I don't get very many calls about what we're doing from my fellow retailers around the country.
Like, how is,
That's interesting.
In the transparency of it, how is hardware business across America?
Depends. In small towns, it's very good.
Yeah, okay.
When they have the choice of a Lowe's, the business gets split. And again, like I said before, it's like, a lot of times the hardware store is left with the pain, problem stuff, the leaky, and Lowe's gets the 10 gallons of paint. Mm-hmm. So, that was kind of that's why I picked the 5 things. But it's true. Indy, was down. We were down to like in the late 80s, early 90s, north of 38th Street in Indianapolis, there was 19 independent hardware stores. And until recently, a few Ace stores have opened up. There was only 4 left.
Wow.
No way. From 19 to 4?
Yeah.
Who were the 4?
Ta-da!
Headland, Sullivan.
We were 2.
You were 2. You were 50% of them.
Yeah, because we had 49th and Penn.
And was the secret just your, and obviously there's a full team and all of you guys doing this, but like having the, foresight to say, hey, we're going to focus on these 4 things and we're going to make an experience that gets people off the couch.
I think that one thing that helped us is that we were deep into the lawn and garden and plant business, because that is something I can do better than Lowe's can, without a doubt.
Whenever you walk
I will
in,
outwork them.
And people just know more.
Yeah.
The people that work back there are just more helpful and know more.
Yeah. So we had that. That was big, and that was really carrying us. And then 49th and Penn in Meridian Kessler, we put that down there. It was close to the governor's mansion. I thought I'd get some state business. Nothing. But that neighborhood is so supportive of small business.
That stretch right there has a ton of awesome local businesses.
Those people are so great to us.
When did you open that?
In 96.
Okay, so this is probably right around Martha opening Patachou.
Yeah.
We had her as a guest, and she talks about that neighborhood being great to her as well.
Dude, that corner, and did she open first?
I think so. Maybe a few years before, because you said 96.
It wasn't in the same, it was further down in the building.
Yes.
Because Hammaker's drugstore was still open when we opened.
And then she ended up taking over that space.
Yes. But I'm telling you, it's like when we were building that store, which was an old gas station, with another horrible tragedy, and I never thought of that. I was buying these. Kurt Callow was killed there by a former employee. You've heard of Pete's Station? Pete's is a car repair place that had been on that corner for. Yeah. And Pete Callow and his son Kurt was in, and he let a guy in and was killed.
Oh man.
So
I mean,
I hate to bring the show down. That just popped in my
Well,
head.
I mean, that's pretty wild that you're both
two places, right?
both of your surviving stores
Right.
were kind of marked by tragedy ahead of time. That's a little interesting there.
I'll just keep going back to small business thing because you had a couple things, and whether or not you knew you were doing it was really smart. You had stores. You realized you had to focus on a few things and dominate them because you couldn't compete across all of them.
Absolutely.
Then you got this incredible sort of marketing thing going on accident with the radio show.
Yeah, the radio show really helped.
And then, but the other thing I think that's key in it is the community aspect of it. I mean, your folks had been doing it for a long time. They were obviously great at building relationships, and then all of a sudden, your networks and your communities, even though they start really small and local, people will support that.
Correct.
Right. So I think that's
really
key part of it too. Is just that everything that you do around the community.
As we look into all those, like you guys are a staple of this
because everybody else went out of business, right? So why didn't that? Right?
Yeah,
and just trying to like connect.
I never thought about that. I was just watching the count. It's like, why didn't I go out of business?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Like, were there moments where you were worried?
The hardware business was in the tank a little bit. We were doing really good with Christmas trees, with plants. All of that was great. But what went on the inside of the store, fertilizer, anything associated with the lawn and garden, with plants, doing great. Plumbing, not so much.
This is interesting. Okay. Because at surface level, if you look at what you have today, you guys are doing a lot of different things, from the restaurant to the events to grills to plants to this. But, and I think that's if you talk back to small business, one is like the shiny car syndrome seems to be a problem with entrepreneurs. They're like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. Today, you have the fortune, you guys do a lot of stuff.
Right.
But it wasn't like you started on day one, you take this thing over and let's do a million things.
No.
How would you talk about progressing and knowing when the right time is to add more distractions at first? Kind of like your R&D, like let's try new things versus master what you're really good at.
That's a good question. I guess we haven't strayed too far. Really, the biggest thing that happened was, we failed at grills, and then, we were working on the yellow house and turned it in, and that's when we really went, because really we had the best selection of artificial trees in the state, but we didn't have all of the ornaments and everything else that went along with that. And that is what came with the gift department and the yellow house, which was not the yellow house originally.
Oh.
It was called, because I thought, you got to be careful because it'll always have to be yellow. So it was called Wildflowers. It was yellow, but it was called Wildflowers. That was in case yellow fell out of favor.
Sure.
That it could be something else. And
Big
this is
PR
where
guy.
Our customers called it the Yellow House. So we've finally changed the name to the Yellow House. So it kind of tells you, like, your customers sometimes will tell you
show you the way.
Yeah, you just follow along with them a little bit. So, but then that's really the elevation of the gift added just a whole nother dimension of that entertainment, because people love coming around. And
Who would have thought the talk radio guy was good at listening? There you go.
Yeah.
Listen to what your customers have to say.
Yeah.
Okay, so things keep growing along. You're creating this experience. And while around you, when were you guys always part of Do It Best?
Since '69.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, and explain to the listeners how that works. Like what Do It Best looks like, being like you're a node on like this larger network.
Yeah, it's a member-owned co-op. So you buy, you acquire stock in the company. Started in the 40s, and now we serve all 50 states and like 30 foreign countries. So, and it's we just recently have purchased True Value.
Oh.
So the True Value and Do It Best will be eventually rolled all into one.
How does that work as a co-op? What does that mean? Because I kind of thought it was a franchise or something like that. So what's the difference? What does a co-op look like?
A co-op looks like, you're there. They provide a lot of services, a lot of support, whether that's advertising, store planning, all of those kinds of things. But it also provides, you have the buying power of an $8 billion or $6 billion company.
Right.
So,
and you're lucky. It's based just up the road in Fort Wayne. I mean, so who's your business?
That is where actually the office is. Unfortunately, there was a warehouse there in an ugly strike back in the 70s. They just closed it. And, that was at a time when Indiana had an inventory tax, really smart and progressive tax. And so they moved all the inventory out of the state. So now we have 9 warehouses, but none in Indiana. But the whole headquarters and the show is in Indianapolis. One of the 2 trade shows is in downtown Indy that literally, takes over. But best time to get home improvement advice is during the Do It Best show.
I mean,
just
I'm
go
sure
down go down to any restaurant, just take out your plumbing parts and set it on a table, and a hardware guy will show you how to fix it.
Someone will like take a bite of shrimp cocktail and say, you need extra
here's
doohickeys on
here's
that.
your problem.
Here's your problem. Okay, so it's a co-op. That's interesting. Dan, you have like experience when it comes to things with co-op, and that's similar.
Well, I just keep like, how does the small guy compete with the big guy? And how do you sort of level the playing field? Like we started a handful of home services companies in 2020 in a different, business. And it was just so hard to compete against the national advertisers and whatnot. So, and find the people that you really wanted to like hire for plumbing or remodels or whatever. So we call it a contractor co-op. And, the contractors bind together. We provide at NeighborServe some centralized services for those folks and lift them up. Because, the 5-person electrician business or awesome master carpenter may not be the greatest marketer. And so we bring those folks together.
Yeah, and those small businesses, just like me, I'm still working. I'm still on the floor. I hate the office.
Right.
And sometimes when that, the guy's working, he's buried in a job, it's like, well, no one's taking the calls on the next place he's going to go. It's like, it's like, we're done here. What are we doing now? It's like, okay, now we'll start, returning phone calls.
Yeah, right. And then people have already bought by, somebody else.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting of how the small guys together compete against the big guys.
Right.
When you think through a co-op, that's actually a very helpful way to phrase that for me of like, because I mean, there are how many different independent owned hardware stores are part of Do It Best?
Let's see. We had, Do It Best had like 3,200 stores, hardware and then a lot of lumber yards and hardware. And then True Value came along with about over 2,000.
Wow.
So
holy cow,
so
that's
now
a
your
lot.
buying power is even bigger.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about the True Value connection because True Value tends to be a little more hardware and gift type stuff and might align a little better with our business. We have a lot of lumber guys and they talk a lot of lumber, which is like I was on the board of directors and it's like there was a lot of talk about
board feet and whatnot.
How many board feet?
Yeah.
Well, it's a fun fact. Like before it gets cut, a 2x4. What is the actual measurements of a 2x4? 1 5/8 by 3.5. Yeah. Yeah, it's like there's saw.
2x4 is not.
It's 2x4. Fun fact for everyone out there. The hardware fact of the day.
Not 2x4 anymore.
They're not 2x4.
And it's just
inflation.
It's no different than potato chips, right?
Or the size of a pizza.
They give you less 2x4.
Yeah,
more air in that potato.
We can't raise the price, but I tell you what, I got an idea. We're gonna make it smaller than a 2x4.
That's crazy. Okay, so talk to me then. You're part of the co-op of Do It Best. Are there other innovative hardware stores across the country?
Yeah.
What are some of the craziest things that people are doing to create an elevated experience for their customers?
I would say they do a lot of service type stuff. People, some stores will start like a little handyman service, kind of similar to what you're doing. If I had to be critical of my fellow hardware, it's the same thing. They don't put enough effort into it. It's like it's on the promotional calendar that we're going to have a cookout. And then it's like, oh, yeah, we got to have a cookout. Someone needs, it's just,
burgers and dogs.
I think sometimes that we don't, I wish we would be a little more professional at it.
Yeah, and the experience of let's talk about your guys' social media. It has blown up. People from around the country have traveled to your 71st and Keystone store to see it. Like I saw TikToks, and I feel like maybe 2 or so years ago, you guys really started, and Arden started like pushing out a ton of content there.
Right.
Talk to us about how that's changed the perception of now you no longer just have the physical experience when you walk in there. You also have this online footprint of the experience.
Yeah, because it makes it kind of like I could get online and go, hey, we're having a umbrella sale. They're 20% off all weekend, and it's just like, but instead we copied Salvador Dali. Is that who it was?
Dali?
Yeah.
That did the large art.
Yeah.
Do you do the large? Do I have the wrong guy? I may have.
What did he do?
He did large art. Like he would cover bridges in pink chiffon.
That's right.
And I think it's a different. I think I'm
different.
saying Dolly. I think it's different.
This is not an art history show.
And he did umbrellas in the valley, and he had these umbrellas. I think it was in California that covered this valley, and so we did that in the parking lot.
Made it a thing.
We made it a thing,
People
and
talk
then
about it.
it was a sale, but we had umbrellas covering the parking lot. And then what would you think would happen to umbrellas when they're in a parking lot? I mean, cars would run into them, so we damaged a lot of umbrellas in that.
Umbrellas were harmed in the making.
We actually
of this.
umbrellas have been a couple of our, because we also did a repeat of the WKRP turkey drop, where we decided to throw umbrellas off the roof and have them gently glide down. And in fact, they went more like torpedoes, and
started stabbing people.
Yeah.
Okay, but like there's several, like you have one of your videos on here that has almost 20 million views on
Yes.
Instagram. Like that's nuts. And if anyone who follows you guys along, like it is very personality. There's funny pieces. There's like, it's not just like huge sale, come today.
Yeah, that's
it's
boring.
Yeah.
I mean, I have friends in the hardware business that will post a picture of their circular.
Well, I don't even know what that means.
Well, a circular, like an advertising
When you
circular.
walk into the store. And
So they just take a
picture.
they'll take a
put
picture of
that
that and
on
post
Instagram.
it. It's like, and I guess that's fine. I don't know.
Fine. What do you mean?
It's not, but I.
Okay, so like how much time are you guys dedicating towards the social media presence of Sullivan's?
It kind of goes in runs. I mean, Arden does a lot, and then we have someone at our Allisonville location that is doing social media for them. But eventually, all those stores will be called the same eventually.
Yeah. Well, I think the one I saw the other day, it was of you guys had people show up and steal stuff, your patio furniture.
Yeah.
And you did this whole thing of like final week of like, and you just like took a really crummy situation and turned it into something that I got, unfortunately, like at your guys' expense, I got a chuckle out of it and was like, okay, well, when I'm going to buy patio furniture though, I'm coming there to buy patio furniture.
Yeah, it was just the video was, everyone goes, is that just a setup? It's like, no, that's our security footage of
No way.
someone stealing a set of patio furniture.
You haven't seen this, Dan?
Running down the street? No.
Oh, Dan, look at this. This is
That's our security video of the tent. We were having a big
They
tent
backed
sale.
up the truck.
Yeah.
And I think that this is
no.
literally the caption is, this is your last chance to get the lowest prices on patio furniture of the year. The rumor is they'll be back October 13th for the rest. Come shop the tent sale before it's too late.
Is there any chance that they got caught because of this
No.
video? Oh,
No. And someone says, I think I said something, and I saw someone said, luckily they didn't have a bigger truck or something like that. Like, they just pack it up with all your stuff
And then roll.
zip out of there.
Oh, my
But like,
And that was at, I would expect, if I was going out for patio late, I would, probably hit a store like at 11 at night. That was 4 a.m.
4 a.m.
Who's stealing patio furniture at 4 a.m.? I would think like 1 a.m. would be a good time to steal.
I mean, I'm going to say this. This is what happened. That was like a Sunday night. Like, Sunday they have a barbecue, and his wife had been real on him saying, my parents are coming over,
You got that
sweetheart.
patio
Need some
furniture.
new.
We got the patio furniture.
And we have that. We have the money. Remember, we saved it in the coffee can. So, and he's going, I bet that on the Steelers game.
Yeah. No, and they're like, well, luckily they live out past Shelbyville. So he was driving to get patio furniture, stopped by the casino, lost all the money, and then was
there. You
screwed.
go. Same.
Then heard there was a tent sale at Sullivan's because he
That's
listens
wild.
to the radio show.
Yeah.
Oh man, wild. Okay, so as we kind of like look to the future of what's coming down, what can we expect out of you all as we look into 2026 and beyond? Like, what are fun initiatives? Are there new events? Are there new things? Is there another 5-star steakhouse coming to 71st and Keystone? Know about?
No. We have an expansion coming of the grill.
Oh,
Soft serve. I just want to say that.
Ice cream. Deal.
Soft serve.
soft serve.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
Yeah.
I'm interested. At 71st and Keystone?
Yes.
I live in the neighborhood, not Ravenswood, but just south of Ravenswood. So I'm intrigued here.
Oddly, people are so good in this city. I mean, they really are. Now, multiple times I have given out my phone number on my radio show, my cell number. And occasionally someone will text me something funny, but no one has really ever abused that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're pretty transparent with it, people are cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to talk. One staple of Sullivan's is that you guys are really enrooted and ingrained in this community. Whether it's giving back to Chittard or whether it's giving back to other local organizations, the parishes, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, to the point, like, Dan, when you were getting your business started, like one of the key marketing channels for you all.
I mean, you're just trying to be scrappy, and I would just show up because I was at Sullivan's anywheres, and I'd be like,
You
Pat,
again.
can I put my sign out front? And you did it with Holster, my last business, and with NeighborServe. You know, my cards are sitting in front.
They're sitting
It
right on the
says home
counter.
Projects, and I think Jack
I hand
Hope-
that card out too, because what we get a lot of is people going, "Hey, do you know someone? Do you know someone?"
Right.
And it's like, he does.
You got a guy that could do this, that, the other thing for me?
But Jack Hope
Yeah.
used to work for you, right? So you
He
hire
did.
the kids in the community, and then they become business owners, and they need some help. And he told me the same story that you let him put flyers out when he and Brad were just getting started.
They were
And it's
starting
just
the
like,
plumbing company, and
Yeah.
the weird thing is, like, Jack, because he goes to college and gets a worthless degree. You know, his
Philosophy.
degree is philosophy. And I always say, well, back in the days of the malls were big. He set up a kiosk at Castleton and throwing out some philosophy in it and failed.
it didn't work. That's shocking.
Yeah.
With the philosophy store didn't work?
No. You walked up and you'd pay a certain amount to get,
But I think it's just
get
that,
some
philosophy. That
philosophy.
consistent. Just
So
help first.
they came to you and said, "Hey, we're starting our plumbing business, and we want to put out flyers."
Yeah. We
Are
put
there
out
other-
flyers, and then I had the radio gig. So I think they first started advertising on my radio show.
And you've got Michaelis, you've got
Yeah.
lots of other local service businesses
Yeah,
that
so
advertise.
that was kind of
or hop
good.
on.
Yeah, I mean, we've had obviously Brad and Jack on and talking about their story. Hearing Dan talk about the way you give back to the community. Why do you think that's so ingrained in the DNA that is Sullivan's?
It's almost your obligation as a small business to be part of the community. It's like, we host all kinds of fundraisers to help raise money. Alzheimer's, the Salvation Army. And the weird thing about like Salvation Army, some people will say, I don't agree with their religion, their politics. And I'm like, they're scooping up our neighbors off the street in the middle of the night.
Right. Nobody else is doing that, right?
Yeah. It's like, why wouldn't I want to help them?
We're working, and they're faith based. Yeah, we're doing work with them this holiday season. They have an angel tree program, which is helping give kids who aren't getting Christmas presents. They're getting them.
That's a
give
great
them,
program if you ever can kick some bucks to it, or even grab an angel and do a little shopping.
We're sponsoring 2 kids, and we're gonna document the process. Like, we're gonna go out and buy Christmas gifts for children in our community. Whether you're, I don't know, the most religious or the least religious person,
Right.
you can't argue that
argue
giving
with that.
children Christmas presents is a bad thing. Like, it's a
No,
good thing. The
it's
community
like
needs that.
The families that find themselves either through, domestic abuse in the middle of the night, kids and moms out, it's like they're there to take them in.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
that
and
is so important to have that.
And they're definitely, they're not saying like, "Oh, do you believe in God?" Like, you can get in here if you believe in God. Like, no, that's not how it works. They're helping our community.
Yeah,
It's
we
good.
will have the Salvation Army Radiothon. Will be 2 days at our Keystone location.
Oh, cool.
And that's through the radio station. And you say, well, why would the radio station? Because we used to have it downtown, and now we do the entire thing at our store. Now they obviously do. They have people hooking up businesses, but we do all the on-site. Get the store ready. We get bands ready. And you might say, well, why would a radio station do that? And I will tell you flat out, because they're lazy. Radio stations are inherently lazy. So if I can do that for them, then, and it's great because the other thing really is like our store feels so much like Christmas. I mean, we have the train, the Santa trains are running, and we have, choirs and bands playing music, and people are coming in and
Just think about that. Like, my kids have, I don't know, 10 Christmas pictures. Drew Schrader rents out the whole place, a realtor, right? And he rents out the whole place and dresses up like Buddy the Elf. And my kids have 10 Christmas pictures. Every time that I unpack my Christmas stuff and put my Christmas picture out, it's like, oh, Sullivan's. And then it's tradition. Then you just go.
Where did the idea for the train come from?
in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, during the era of the great department stores. Downtown Indianapolis had Ellis Ayres.
Ellis Ayres, right.
Ellis Ayres, and on the top floor of Ellis Ayres, where the tea room was, they had a little train. And everyone knew that that's where the real Santa was. I mean, that's where you went. I mean, everybody else was a fraud.
You don't smell like Santa. You smell like beef and cheese.
Yeah. So LS Airs, so then that train, LS Airs went out of business. The train, they donated to the State Museum.
Oh, cool.
I don't think they use that train any longer. Actually, I think they have a train similar to, but I mean, it's like the Santa thing is hard. So it was kind of a wide open thing. So, and I don't want to say that I looked at it and go, well, I could do better than this.
Sure.
But that's what I did.
Hey.
So
Well, let me
and
say
it started off we bought one train. The first train cost $56,000.
$56,000. What year is this?
The first day we ran the train, I set the house on fire with a toaster, which was a $500,000
Mistake. Oh,
mistake.
boy. Is that how you have Michaelis on the show? Just
No, they were already in. So, oddly, the morning, I know I'm going off on tangents.
I love it. I'm here for it.
So, oddly, the morning, I was trying to get out of the house because I was very nervous. It was the very first day we were running the train, one train. And I got out of the house and I was getting an energy bar, and we have one of those appliance garages. And so my hand grabbing this and shutting the shutter on it, and it grabbed the handle of the toaster and locked it on.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Started the entire, and my poor wife was still asleep.
Oh, my gosh.
So luckily the smoke detectors went off. At first she actually smelt it and she goes, oh my God, he can't even make toast. That was her first
So
thought.
the first day you're running your brand new
My wife calls
$56,000
me.
train.
Yeah, she calls me. She goes, the house is on fire. It's like, okay, well, I'm kind of busy.
Train's running.
So, and then I hear the fire department's right by our Keystone store. I hear him going out. It's like, dear Lord, I go, and it is in flames.
Oh, man.
What?
Black Friday, I was able, because our clothes were, I mean, everything. Michaelis took everything. But the great thing is, because it was Michaelis and I'd been doing their advertising, I already knew the number 844 Fix Indy.
Right.
So I didn't have to look it up or anything.
Right.
And so I got them. But later than that night, we had to go out and buy some essentials, and underwear was half price.
Hey.
Because it was Black Friday. Black Friday, everything was on sale. So
Oh my gosh.
Sometimes the world works.
But take me through $56,000 for this train.
yes.
That's
So-
a large investment to make on
Yes.
maybe it'll work.
Right.
Right. And we had it was a very short, the train ride was 4 minutes to the North Pole and then 2 minutes back. So one train. But we had we had set up a couple tunnels and stuff, and we had some very primitive animation, like throw a wire around a stuffed reindeer and have them bounce up and down, But there was a story. Even then, there was a story that we played, and it was, and we were guessing at the timing and stuff. And so you'd take 4 families. There's 4 cars, so 4 families go at a time, and you drop them off at the North Pole. They get out. The families that are there get back on, and then they do the return ride.
Yep.
And so, but it was a great success. I mean, it was $20. $20 is what we were charging, and we had taken Shopify and tried to make it. We didn't know what ticketing software was, and so we watched, because tickets go on sale every year, November 1st at 4:00 in the afternoon. Do you know why
right?
4:00?
Why?
We don't
Colts
know.
game ended?
I don't know. So, but we sat there in the very first hour, we sold 18 tickets.
Wait, 4 p.m. or 4 a.m.?
4 p.m.
4 p.m. on November 1st. You sold
November
how
1st.
many tickets?
18 in the very first year, and we were beyond thrilled.
Wait, 18 tickets?
18 tickets in 1 hour.
But now what do you sell?
We sell about 5,000 tickets in the first hour.
How many years ago?
Well, that was 2015.
But
A decade ago. You sold 18 tickets in your first
18
hour.
tickets in the first hour.
But you were happy about that.
I was
at the
very
time.
happy
Like,
about
you know
it.
what I mean?
I didn't know
Yeah,
if anyone would come to
$400
this
Yeah,
thing.
let's
right.
think. Okay, carry the one, and we only spent $56,000 on this train. 18 tickets in the first hour.
First hour, but you got to remember, and then it was word of mouth. Then people
Yeah.
saw the train, and then
Yeah.
Well,
Take
with
care
that
of it, make it
math,
worth
but
it.
18 tickets an hour, like by the time that your grandson Sully takes over in a decade or 10 decades or whatever, he could maybe pay off the original train at 18 tickets an hour.
Yeah. No, it was. I don't know what the sales were. Maybe I think we might have gotten up to 150,000.
How many trains do you have now?
8.
What?
Yes, 8 trains, and they leave. The trains now are about 110,000.
It's a machine.
Yeah.
Got $1 million in trains.
Yes, I do.
It's every kid's dream.
How many? Yeah, honestly, how many How many like months, weeks, a year are they in use? What are they doing when they're not?
We store them. Just put them in the.
Don't you use them for the pumpkin?
We use them for pumpkin. Right now they're at they'll have about 20 days at Pumpkin Town.
Yep.
And then they're in the 500 Festival Parade. We do that with them for one day. And then they run from, this year they're running November 22nd through the 23rd.
But Saturday tickets go on sale.
As you think about the legacy that is Sullivan Hardware and Garden, 71 years in the business, as you think about the legacy that is this company, the different locations, everything, what do you hope people say 70 years from now about your guys' store, about the stores?
It went from being an obligation to support a small business to we had so much fun there. We had so much fun, and it was always great to go to Sullivan's. And that's what I always want to tell small businesses. There's too many. I don't hate this. This may come out very wrong. Shop local, shop local. Mm-hmm. Shop local if the business deserves. You shouldn't shop local just because.
Right.
You should shop local because they deserve your business.
Because they're going above and beyond. Like they're doing something, and giving
and there's
you
a ton of small businesses that deserve your business.
And it's like almost like when you say shop local, it's like, do your research local too. Like see who's giving a world-class experience. And like, if you are strictly just a price shopper, like supporting local business is going to be tough. Martha Hoover talked about this, the value equation, saying like, if the way you see value is getting the most amount of something for the least amount of money, like that's all, your quality is not a piece of that, experience isn't a piece of that, then like, her restaurant was never going to be for you in the first place.
Right.
Everyone's asked like, why is an omelet so expensive? And it's like, well, look at what goes into the omelet, the value equation of the whole thing.
The atmosphere, the whole bit.
Yeah, when you're talking about, supporting local, it's like, look at these business owners who are trying to be innovative and create this experience that is more than just like, stop in, get your burrito, get out of here, whatever it is.
Because if it's just like, hey, open the door, throw out the shingle, it's like, I'm local, shop here. It's like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we've come to some fun segments here at the end of the show. The first question is brought to you by our friends at J.C. Hart. They're a leader in creating enjoyable living experiences at apartment communities all across Indiana and beyond. Check them out at homeisjchart.com. My question for you, Pat, why do you call Indiana home?
I mean, I've literally stood on the corner of 71st and Keystone my entire life, from the time I was third grade till I'm 65 now. It's like I have been on one corner in this world. You want to know what's going on the corner? Ask me.
Good priced adult beverages at that one spot on the corner there. You know, good stuff there. Growing up in the store, obviously you've been on that corner literally your entire life. What's one childhood chore that taught you the most about running a business?
We used to sell bait. I had to sort out the worms into 1 dozen, 2 dozen, and 3 dozen.
Dirty work.
Yeah, we had like little. That's why I don't get Chinese food carry out. We had these little boxes, the Chinese, and you'd get a little moss in them, and
you just get a big bucket of worms. You had to.
They came 500 in a box, and you would scoop them out. You count them out, and I always would be ticked at people that would, people would come in and buy the worms, and they would dump them out and count my work, and it kind of pissed me off.
But you're still doing all the dirty work. You're in the store doing all the things the employees are doing.
Well, okay, what advice would you give to other hardware store owners out there or maybe even just small businesses in general, on how they can compete against e-commerce, compete against big box retailers, big corporate? What's the advice?
You know what? Specialize, which we talked about. Be the best at something. Entertain your customers, provide an experience. And, I understand for some businesses, it's like maybe that's harder. It's like, but I think even if you're in the funeral business, right, that's an experience. Be a bad experience, but if you
have the softest tissues. Be the funeral with the softest tissues in the state of Indiana. Boom.
There you go. Boom.
Marketing. You can have that for free.
Every time we do something, it's like we always think of the experience. What is going to, people. Some of the best comments we'll have is like, we do a big business in house plants, and during the winter, the house plants, is king, and people go, and that's when people have bad days. We're not getting very much sunlight, and people go, it's like, I just come to your store just to walk around because I'm feeling bad. Yeah. And so that's when you've reached, that you've kind of hit that point where they trust you, and you become kind of part of their life.
You talked about fireplaces not working out as one of your 5 original
Yes.
pillars. Have there been other, whether it's marketing initiatives or product initiatives, something that you had this great idea and you launched it and it just flatlined?
Yeah, there's been a number of them.
Is there one that sticks out?
It was my son Andrew bought $20,000 worth of. It was the kids' pillows. There was a name for them. Everybody had them. Do you know the
Pillow
name?
Pets?
Pillow Pets?
Pillow Pets. Yeah. And he was like 20 years too late, and he like spent 20 grand. It's like we ate it on those things.
Do you still have Pillow Pets laying around?
I think we donated them all.
Oh, God.
But
Shout out
there's
to Andrew.
definitely things. I mean, the problem is if you decide you want to do something. Another thing for a small business is like when we decided we wanted to be the leader in artificial Christmas trees. We analyze the market. Everybody has 20, every Lowe's, Walmart, everybody has 20 Christmas trees. So we came right out of the box with 70 Christmas trees. We wanted to be the leader. And I would speak of that when I was, speaking to the Do It Best group, and I would talk about the story of the, Christmas trees. And, now we sell, 8 containers of artificial Christmas trees. It's really big business. I mean, it's like, matter of fact, we have offering services. We have a Christmas tree setup service. We maintain 1,000 trees for our customers where we store them, we set them up, we shape them, we fix the lights, we take them to their house, they decorate them, they undecorate them, we pick them up.
But talk about the trust for that. 1,000 customers let you into their home. Like 1,000 people trust you to come in and make sure their Christmas tree and like their holiday
Just take
season.
one of the stressful things out of the equation. Let them do the fun part.
It does. And you know what helps? What's really cool is when an older couple is coming in and going, hey, you know what? We can't get the Christmas tree upstairs or downstairs anymore. We just need to buy a smaller tree. And say, hey, you know what? We could, if you want to keep that tree, we can take it. And it's like to see their face light up. And if they have, it's not inexpensive. It's not horrible, but it's not inexpensive. But if they have that and then they get to keep that something they always loved, it's like boom.
Yeah, and like we all know that feeling too when you go to grandma's house as she starts to get older and the tree goes from being huge to being small, and you're kind of like,
comes the tabletop.
Yeah, here comes the tabletop. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Do you have any closing pieces of advice in that vein for how to balance trying new things and being courageous and taking risks?
So actually now I've steered back to where I was in that story, is that too many people, and I ran into a member at Do It Best, and he goes, hey, I really liked your speech, and I tried the Christmas tree thing, it just didn't work for us. And I said, that's too bad. So how many, and I said, how many trees did you put up? He said 9. And it's like, I don't even know what to do with that. The whole point of it was to own the market. But what too many retailers do and small businesses do, it's like, hey, you know what? We're going to try this. And if we do good, then we'll expand it next year. So, maybe it's a line of China or something in a gift shop. It's like, well, we'll get this one. And if we do good, you're not going to do good.
Yeah. You're
not going to do good.
No one ever told their friends about, the hardware store downtown has half the amount of trees of Lowe's. You should go check that out.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you have 3 times as many. Like you said, you started with 70.
Yeah.
The average big box place had 20.
And now we have 125.
Okay, so that's 6 times as many.
Don't throw your math at me.
Yeah, come on,
Right?
buddy. But it's like I will tell my friends about something that is 6 times better. See how many put out 9. I thought that's
and
crazy.
You can grab a beer while you're looking at them.
I mean,
that's how you feel the purchases.
at the bottom of that first tall one, you're starting to be like, 20-foot tree wouldn't be too bad this year.
That's right.
It's a beauty, isn't it, Clark?
You got to put a tree down.
All right, here we go. Final 3 questions that we ask every guest who come on the show. This is all about the state of Indiana. So, with Do It Best, and now with True Valley, you have other hardware store owners from across the country. You said across the world even too, right?
Yep.
Members of the co-op. As you talk to them, you're shaking hands, they're asking about this guy in Indiana. What is something that the world needs to know about Indiana?
It's a cool place, and we don't want too many people to know what we're doing here. Everything, Indy is so cool. Indiana, there's so much to do, and yet we have this reputation that is just Naptown. Naptown. And like one time we go out to East Coast every year, not every other year. So Beth has some family in and we always go to Rhode Island. One guy actually said to me, it wasn't a relative, but a friend of a relative, "So what do you do in Indiana for fun?" And I said, "During the summer, we just run through the cornfields. You just run, man. You just run.
It's exhilarating.
And it's really cool."
We don't want
because
him
I don't want them.
Yeah.
I don't want them.
He probably his jaw dropped like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Thanksgiving, we do our turkey in a trash can turkey. This kid was from the East Coast, and he was visiting, and he came along with one of my kids, and I said, "It's very traditional here in Indiana to cook your turkey in a trash can." And I really built up like that. Everybody, that's just like it's what we do. It's part of our culture, because again, that'll keep them away.
There you go. He's like the
Protect
antithesis of marketing for the state of Indiana. Okay, so I will say your store, specifically the one at 71st and Keystone, like that one is just like a wonderland but all the stores are great.
Yeah,
Tons
the
of great
two
things.
big stores, and because I am such a genius in business, as you've pointed out, I have 4 locations, and all of them are different, which is a really stupid thing to do. But Keystone is hardware, and then kind of the wonderland of what we created. Allisonville has no hardware, but they have an incredible amount of the nursery stock. They have Pumpkin Town. There's a restaurant out there. 49th and Penn is a beautiful little store nestled right in and do a nice job with lawn and garden and hardware. They sell more hardware than Keystone does. And then we have a store in Cicero that's just a hardware. It's like everyone. It's really hard to market all these stores.
Yeah, they're all different in his
Yeah,
experience.
so dumb.
And I will say, Sullivan's has been for this next question. It has been highlighted. People have talked about how much they love the store. It's a part of Indiana that more people need to check out. So this question for you, this is a place where we teach people about a part of Indiana that you love that might not be getting as much love as it could. So what is a hidden gem in Indiana?
Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Electric Works?
Fort Wayne, Indiana. Well, that's what Electric Works, where Do It Best headquarters is. But we spent a lot of time there because, again, I don't get a lot of time off. We spent so much time in Fort Wayne, and the history. There is so many cool things in Fort Wayne. I had no idea.
Yeah,
I had no idea. Have you ever been in the courthouse in Fort Wayne?
I've been past it, but I haven't been in it.
I mean, in Indy, they just they tear them down. But I mean, somebody really managed their history.
When you're in downtown Fort Wayne, it's super cool. Like it's just there's a lot going on there. It's really interesting. Okay, so we just had the Pacers guy. So for Noblesville Boom, our G League team for the Pacers used to be in Fort Wayne,
right?
Called the Mad Ants. Dan, you're gonna love this. So Mad Ants, everyone's like, oh, why would they name it after an insect? The Mad Ants is short for Mad Anthony Wayne, who the town of Fort Wayne was named after, a Revolutionary War. So everyone was like, there was so much history and heritage tied to that team. So moving to Noblesville was really tough.
Right.
But I thought that was one of the coolest fun facts I'd ever
cool.
heard about Mad Anthony Wayne.
Yeah, we were just surprised the country clubs there. I mean, it just has a really cool vibe.
Yeah. Okay, final question here. This is how we get new guests for the show or learn about other Hoosiers that are doing things that we need to know about. Who's a Hoosier we need to keep on our radar? Someone who's doing big things.
I would say Dan, actually.
There you go. Dan,
I'm like,
come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan is doing it. He's recreating a business of, how would you describe it? I mean, because it's not, back in the day, it wasn't Angie's List. It was Unified Neighbors.
There you go. Yeah,
Unified
just make it easy
Neighbors.
to take care of your house, man. Local, everything you said, local community, everything else.
And you make things easy.
Yeah, make it easy.
Just like I make it easy for people's Christmas trees and all the different things we do. So it's really big Dan.
Yeah. I mean, Dan, what you're
Matt.
doing with Neighbor Serve, I mean, it does make things easy. If you talk about, whether it's your Christmas tree or things that you guys are doing, but like, I mean, give me a quick rundown. How many different things are covered under the Neighbor Serve umbrella?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I think there's 90 categories of home service stuff, and we'll add Christmas tree setup from Pat here shortly.
There you go.
91 now.
Nice.
But it's like, I mean, plumber. Whether you need to like have some heavy duty plumbing done, or you need to have like your ceiling fan switched out or something like
At the end
that.
of the day, we've got good local businesses that have earned it, and we make it easy to find them and hire them.
And that's the other part too. Is like, what is it? You have to be owned here in Indianapolis.
Yeah, 90% of our contractors are headquartered here.
All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure learning more about the history from 1954.
Yes. Well, I hope it makes sense when people listen.
Oh, well,
You ever put subtitles in?
Oh yeah, we have plenty of subtitles. I talk like a million
this
miles
is what he means.
The train is very fun. You should go on
Train
it.
is
I
fun.
mean, if there was your favorite time of the year that people should go out and visit Sullivan's, when should they do that?
The two big times are spring and Christmas.
Yeah.
Christmas, I will say, is a more social time because spring people are in there, man. They're doing the yards and stuff like that, and having a good time and stuff. But Christmas is a later. We actually stay open later during the.
Heck yeah.
All right, I have one. Can I throw one last fact in that is interesting about Sullivan Hardware?
I need it.
The movie Hoosiers was based off of
Milan
team. Bobby Plump was the real life character that was loosely based on. Bobby Plump has had a house account at Sullivan Hardware since the 70s. He lives right down the road. He is always, he's been a really good customer. Fast forward in the 1980s, there was a guy working for us that was going to IUPUI, was in engineering. His name was Morris Valinas. Morris Valinas played Bobby Plump in the movie.
Oh, cool.
So the hardware store that Bobby Plump went to, one of the clerks ended up playing him in the movie.
How'd that happen?
They were casting, and he was playing over a pickup game over at St. Luke's. They liked his jawline.
There you go. That's awesome.
So that's a weird little...
I love that.
Hoosiers
because they used a lot of Indiana basketball, like high school basketball players.
They did. He was the only one that was not a high school basketball player.
Oh, wow.
No way.
Yeah.
And classic gyms.
But he's a good, good CYO basketball player and stuff. Yeah.
We had Angelo Pizzo on the show, and he talked about building Hoosiers and everything, like the whole and like how they.
I
picked
still
nights
love
out.
that movie.
It's crazy.
It holds up.
They're releasing the extended director's cut.
Oh, really?
The footage has been lost and will be reinserted because when they originally cut the movie, it was 2 hours and 30 minutes long. They had to get it to 2. There was like 30 minutes of unseen footage that will be coming out on a streaming service.
And that opening scene, man, makes me go, I love Indiana.
Let's go. I love it. Pat, thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Dan, it's
Thanks,
a pleasure
guys.
as always. It was so much fun learning about your business, the history of it. To 71 years strong, and here's to the next 71.
Thank you.
This show is made possible by our friends up at Sweetwater. Whether you're looking to start a podcast or take your content to the next level, click the link in the description to see all my gear recommendations at Sweetwater. If you want a behind-the-scenes look at everything we're doing across the state, make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Nate Spangle. Thank you so much for listening and being a part of what makes the Hoosier State great. We'll see you next time here on Get In.